Right, Stefan, I think we're okay to go now.
Yeah. Welcome everybody to Benedict's Well, and we're hosting a Benedict's Well from Ireland today. Uh, our speaker Rosalind is in County Carlow. I'm in County Waterford, and we also Rosalind is on her own. Got her name up. I was going to introduce Noel Keating because she's using Noel's computer, but she's now labelled as Rosalind, and she's Noel is our uh, special coordinator for meditation with children, and runs the many meditation groups online in Ireland. So we're a little team now, and the time I'm thinking everybody has worked out that the time, at least in the British Isles, is an hour earlier from yesterday. Was from in Ireland. It was an hour earlier yesterday, so that may have confused some people. But I think most of us nowadays we rely on electronic things that change the time for us. In the old days, we had watches, which could be you could be for days sort of an hour out from you. Yeah. So um so anyway, we'll take a moment now just to prepare for our meditation. Oh God, come to our aid. O Lord, make haste to help us. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. Um, Rosalind has chosen a reading from the Rule of St. Benedict from the prologue. Listen carefully, my child, to my instructions, and attend to them with the ear of your heart. This is advice from one who loves you. Welcome it and faithfully put it into practice. The labor of obedience will bring you back to God, from whom you had drifted through the sloth of disobedience. This message of mine is for you then, if you are ready to give up your own will, once and for all, and armed with the strong and noble weapons of obedience, to do battle for Jesus the Christ. Heavenly Father, open our hearts to the silent presence of the Spirit of your Son. Lead us into that mysterious silence where your love is revealed to all who call. Maranatha, come, Lord Jesus. So it's a pleasure for me to introduce our speaker today, Rosalind Fadden. Rosalind, despite her youthful look, has been meditating for many decades and is actually was one of the longest standing meditators in Ireland. She knew John Mayne's sister and I think Yvonne, and she opened a meditation center in County Carlow back in the 1990s, and has been since then involved with running retreats and counseling and well-being courses involving meditation, and for 23 years has been a teacher for Tai Chi, and coordinates a whole academy for Tai Chi. So it's and also at the moment we're very honoured to have her as novice oblate. So she's, after being involved in the community for such a long time, she's becoming an oblate this year. We have to organise that. So it's a great pleasure to have Rosalind with us. Oh, today she's talking about, the title of the presentation is the long way round the shortest way home?
Good morning to everybody, or good day, or good evening, or wherever you are, whatever time zone. Now, despite what Stefan is saying about, kind of meditating for so many years, I quite honestly feel that I'm a beginner. So I'm happy with that each time, each day, and missing a day or doing whatever, I feel that that's where I'm at. So we'll start anyway, and you can see that I'm at the seaside and enjoying all of that fresh air and what have you. So the title of the talk is The Long Way Round, the Shortest Way Home. Well, there's two parts, I suppose, to that question. One about the long way around, which definitely I've been on this journey, it seems, for years. But anyway. And the second one is about the shortest way home. But the real question is, where is home? Now, we kind of have a sense of that home space as meditators. But we know that humankind, and myself definitely, I've been restless in searching for that home. And it's a restlessness that you cannot say, oh, this is it, or this is what I'm seeking for, or this is it's just something within the heart. And all of my life, I'm sure most people's lives, we have that gentle call forwards. There's something within us, just propels us onwards. T.S. Eliot, in his poem, Little Gidding, writes, with the drawing of this love and the voice of this calling, we shall not cease from exploration. And at the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. So this poem speaks about the never-ending journey of exploration and the search for the ultimate truth, I suppose, the union, the merging with God, the secure home place. It suggests that the journey itself is just as important as the destination, like faithfulness to the mantra during meditation. It's a faithfulness. This was very consoling for me on my own journey and through my work with, I suppose, so many journey companions throughout the years. And St. Augustine writes, you have made us for yourself, O Lord, and our hearts are restless until they rest in you. Again, acknowledging the inner search for that secure home space. It's like the truth of our own being. Now, on a lighter note, some of you may remember the film of years back, E.T., and the sweet little creature on Earth, and when he pointed to outer space, and he said, point home, home, and his finger lit up when he made that connection with the home energy. Our earthly home, as we see it, has gone through many transformations over the past billions of years, and all this refinement has presented with this beautiful, colourful jewel we call Mother Earth. We call home. But is that our home? This home base is temporary. So where is our real home? Is it a sense or a feeling, a thought process, a comfort zone? We know how to access the external world. We live in it, so we know it. Or even our neighboring planets. But what about our true home, the richness of our true inner selves, where nothing can shake us? The solidness of our own inner being, where all truth and wisdom, grace and beauty, inner knowing, and that immeasurable quality of love dwells. We may stray from this home or true inner being many times, but we always have the memory. We have the longing within us. I suppose we're in exile here with all the distractions of the world, of money and power, the ego-based finite world that doesn't satisfy us. We have that memory or the energy connection like ET. Our finger may not light up when we make that connection, but we can feel the heart softening, heart opening, or a feeling of being truly loved by the divine. We feel the pull, we hear the call, as St. Augustine mentioned. T.S. Eliot, with his lines, the drawing of this love and the voice of this calling. Before I go on to speak a little bit of my own journey or calling, I would like to share a little piece from John Mayne's book, Word into Silence, by way of our journey homewards, or I suppose our awakening. The awakening of our own spirit to the Spirit of God cannot be received by us passively. We'll see that later in St. Benedict's prologue. So cannot be received by us passively, as if it were a pre-packaged experience imported from the outside, or as if we were not persons created in the image of God, but objects masquerading as persons. Our awakening is, in itself, the awareness of our participation in the life of God as the source of our personhood, the very power by which we are enabled to accept his gift of our being. It is therefore a free response, an utterly personal communication, a free acceptance. So we see that we make the choice. We make the choice twice daily. We make the choice each week. We make the choice of faithfulness to the mantra. So a little bit about my own journey, which was definitely the long way around. I seem to be on this road of meditation since childhood. I don't know. But anyway. So I had a regular Catholic childhood with very positive experience of church practice and its teachings. I loved it all. I loved when the mission came, as they did in those days, to the village, and we were all ready for the mission night, and it had stands outside with holy pictures and medals and all of that, and all of the little, the rose petals and all of that. As children, we had little baskets, and we distributed these through these rose petals as we went on procession. In teenage years, I suppose, and as a young child, I was very sociable. And in teenage years and 20s, social life, entertainment, and social interaction with others was an important part of my life. When I was about 17, a friend gave me a copy of the book Autobiography of a Yogi by the Indian guru Paramahansa Yogananda. And that was the start of real exploration, I suppose. I had no conflict between Hindu and Christian teachings, and later in life, I was delighted in studying for a degree in theology and philosophy at Milltown Institute in Dublin. That's in Dublin. I also encompassed Buddhism, Taoism, all through my studies in Tai Chi and Qigong. Each tradition, I suppose, I supported with bodily exercise from yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, sacred dance. I found that these practices helped to refine the body, raise the vibrations, help with focus, calm the emotions, all of these things. Really good. So it was a bodily sense as well as a mental or intellectual knowing. At this early stage also, very enthusiastic two people had returned from India, full of the joys of the practice of yoga and meditation. So I attended that, as an 18-year-old, 20-year-old, and it was a focus, I suppose. And later on, when my own children were small, we set up a meditation for children in Dublin. And they were absolutely delighted with it. It was fun and games, and then a quiet period and all of that. And even the youngest child I brought to my own meditation, and he would just sit on my lap. And when we went into silence, he totally fell asleep, I think. But at this at this stage in my life had become very busy. I was working as a staff nurse at the hospital, studying for a psychotherapy degree. I was married and had 2 children. And then a tragedy happened. My husband was shot and seriously wounded in a work-related situation as a police detective. Thankfully, he survived, and I have to say, with all of the prayers of the country, supported him. He had to take early retirement, but he's in very good health to this day, so all is well. Life took a different turn then for a year or two, with no great spiritual input. We moved out of the city of Dublin to the country. We bought a centre, a large house and many small houses. I didn't know what shape it was going to take, what exactly we were going to do there. But within a year, it had turned itself, you could say, into a retreat and meditation centre with accommodation for about 36 residential people or places. But I was still unconsciously searching for that retreat center within me, or personal space for spiritual growth within myself. One day I was visiting a friend in Dublin who said, I'm going across the road for a 30-minute meditation session. Why don't you come? The person leading that meditation was Yvonne Fitzgerald, John Mayne's sister. So I attended meditation there many times after that and was so glad to have rekindled the flame of my own inner journey. So back to my retreat centre, which was just about an hour from Dublin. And I felt inspired to start a Christian meditation group myself at our centre. I did some training with the facilitators from London and held our meditation sessions on Tuesday evenings for about 8 years, I would say, while we were at the centre. This was my personal space and time for spiritual growth. It was very nourishing, and people attending were so much at a soul level. They were so happy to have a meditation night in their community. An elderly lady said after meditation one evening, said, if heaven is anything like this, I just want to go there and stay there. I feel so completely in the presence of God. She was full of joy herself in her own life anyway. And I was lucky enough to be at her bedside when she died, and she was still saying the mantra. In hindsight, facilitating the meditation groups gave me a confidence in the value of what I was doing. And with a friend, we branched out into giving short retreat days, which would span over a 6-week period. They were called Sheil retreats, the Irish word for planting the seed. So I suppose that's what we were doing, just planting the seed. No great deal about it. Around this time also, I was introduced to Father Pat Murray, and our paths crossed many times after that. He had just returned from spending some time with John Mayne and Lawrence Freeman in Canada. I invited him to run a retreat at our centre. He had a wealth of wisdom and a great meditative presence. And what I liked, he had a regular 3 times a day meditation practice himself, which he never failed. Even if he came to visit, he would always say, we'll meditate first and we'll have the tea later. Because in Ireland, as soon as a person arrives, we'll have a cup of tea, will be the thing. So for many years, he gave retreats throughout Ireland and introduced thousands to meditation. In about the year 2000, we now had 3 children. The centre was extremely busy with courses and trainings, meditations and retreats. We had built on a beautiful circular meditation building to hold about 80 people. Father Pat Murray did the opening ceremony. Yvonne Fitzgerald and many other meditation facilitators attended. And on that night, Yvonne brought down many books by John Mayne, and people were so happy to be able to avail of them. In 2001, we decided to move to a quieter way of life. I suppose while the children were so small, we had to focus on them. So we sold the centre. Later, I went back to nursing and counselling at a large addiction treatment centre called Cúnmhuire. So that's Irish, meaning Mary's Harbour or Mary's Shelter. Our Lady was the trusted patron there. It had been set up by a young 24-year-old nun who had taken the risk of buying a property without any money. She's still alive today. She's 86, I suppose. But this program was very different. I had worked on programs in private sector. It had a wonderful, positive, uplifting approach and was spiritual in its essence. I was delighted with myself. And it provided, even though we had over 200 residents, it provided a family atmosphere. It was like just coming home. Every day I went to work, it was like coming home to another family, a huge family this time. So as I say, it had over 200 residents. We dealt with addictions to alcohol, gambling, drugs, like heroin and cocaine, or prescribed drugs. And it had four definite pillars. So it is like Benedict's monastic rule in a way. So it had work, therapy, recreation, and prayer and meditation, which was the main part. The motto in Coomera is, "This is a place where I change myself and nobody else." Because, you know, in life or in addiction, we have a tendency to blame this, that, and the other. We use all of the defense mechanisms that we can find. And Father Pat Murray, again, crossed my path. He had been asked to help set up that meditation program. So to this day, 25 years later, there's a twice daily meditation at all of the Coomera houses, which I suppose numbers 13 maybe throughout the country. Definitely a large treatment centre in each province. So twice daily meditation, 7:20 in the morning and 5 in the evening. And a lot of his teachings are still being used there because the program was reformed. That nun I spoke of, she asked that it be based on John Mayne's philosophy of life. So it's an absolutely beautiful program. In all, on any one day, I suppose it caters for more than 1,000 people throughout the country struggling with addictions. So as you can imagine, for any of us, especially beginner meditation, and I found this also in the Tai Chi Academy when they saw the word meditation, they said, "I thought we were coming here to learn Tai Chi and Qigong. What's this about meditation?" So I think it's a very important part, and was a very important part, of both programs or projects. So when people come into treatment, they go into a detox unit, and at the very outset are introduced gently to quiet time or meditation. It may start with, you know, relaxation, breathing. Later on, second week, maybe posture, letting their body sit upright. And then it moves on into the meditative practice. Now, when you think of it, there may be 200 people in that meditation hall, but some are in their 11th or 12th week. The programs, there are two different programs. One is a 12-week program for alcohol and gambling and prescribed drugs, and the other is a 20-week program dealing with heroin addiction, cocaine, etc. So the people kind of finishing their program is such a huge support to the people in their first few weeks. So they're very encouraging. When people come into the program, you often see that they rush to get the back seat, the wall at their back. You say, why? Well, they may have been living on the street. They may have been watching their back a lot of the time before they came into treatment, so they feel safer with a wall at their back. The stillness of the body was a huge thing. So I'll just show you maybe one or two moves that I'll just stand up here to get people to relax the body. We would just do maybe 2 or 3 minutes of Qigong. So stretching the body, grounding the body, bringing the focus down to the feet. And then they got a sense of the body. The focus was not just on this very, very busy mind. Some would describe it as a washing machine on the fast spin. The mind was going so quickly, especially in drug addiction and also in gambling, because the mind of the gambler has to be so active, watching his back financially. So we did a few moves like this. Now, sometimes they're yin moves, but we had to do some yang moves because the body could be so tense. So we do chopping wood, punching. So it loosened up the body. And then they could sit down and maybe relax a little bit more. So that was the introduction to the practice. So now I will come to the prologue, which has now become an epilogue, and see what is it about this piece that's so important. For me, it was like the answer, the go-to. So I will read it very, very slowly. Listen carefully, my child, to my instructions, and attend to them with the ear of your heart. So immediately down from the head to the heart. This is advice from one who loves you. Imagine that. Welcome it and faithfully put it into practice. So that's clear instruction. The labor of obedience will bring you back to God, from whom you had drifted through the sloth of disobedience. Okay, disobedience is a tough word there, but the sloth, I suppose, or the distractions of the world, which pull us out all of the time, or pulled me out all of the time, still does. So I still have that difficulty. This message of mine is for you then. If you are ready to give up your own will, that's a difficult one. Egoic thought process, very strong in all of us. So if you're ready to give up your own will once and for all, and armed with the strong and noble weapons of obedience, thy will be done. Not my will, but thy will be done. The noble weapons of obedience to do battle for Jesus, the Christ. For me, that piece is very clear. To give up your own will once and for all. The humility, the obedience, the trust, the love of that statement. So hopefully, after all of this, I'm somewhere on the journey home, and I mean home within myself, and with the help of pieces like this, just to recognize that inner home space and to merge with that love. So thank you all very much for listening, and I wish you all a good day, and we'll continue on together, because alone we cannot do this. So I'm happy that Noel is so diligent and has his Thursday and Sunday evening meditations, and also one that we can attend live in Carlow town on a Monday evening. So he's very generous in his giving of his time and his life's experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rosalind. And it was wonderful to hear your story and all that history of meditation in Ireland. Makes me feel like a blow-in. You've been at it a long time, so it's great to hear that, and your personal journey. and all the work you do with counseling and addiction healing, and it's great. I saw that what's he called? Our friend in the UK was here, who does also similar Tai Chi, and Terry.
Terry, yes.
I saw he was there. He does similar things, so it's great to have you with us as well. And so anyway, we'll just take a moment to gather ourselves for a final prayer. May the divine assistance remain always with us and with our absent brothers and sisters. Amen.
Well, thank you very much, Rosalind, for that lovely presentation. It was very, very interesting. I also knew Yvonne Fitzgerald and meditated with her in the house, so I could just picture it.
Yes.
Very precious. It just remains for me, because we're short on time. Next week will be community sharing. So you are all most welcome to come back to the well and to join us for that, to listen, to learn, to contribute, whatever you feel comfortable doing. And we look forward to welcoming you back here at the well next Monday. God bless everybody. Have a good week.
Thank you. Wonderful.
Thank you. Very nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark, someone called Elaine has asked how they can join